The Armed Forces of the Philippines has reported more Chinese vessels inside the country's exclusive economic zone, and also for the first time, they are now conducting drills there. The Philippine Navy said some 22 Chinese Navy ships, 16 Chinese Coast Guard vessels, and more than 100 Chinese militia ships were spotted in the West Philippine Sea just last week.
Illegal. Kapag yung presensya nila, ay dapat wala sila sa loob ng ating exclusive economic zone. Ayon sa UNCLOS, ang mga warships na dumadaan, they could exercise the right of innocent passage. Ibig sabihin, dadaan ka lamang, tuloy-tuloy, sa pinakamabilis na speed para makarating ka sa destination mo. Pinagbabawa ng UNCLOS ang panggat ng anumang activity na mag-undermine ng security ng coastal states.
Commodore Trinidad said the drills only involve aircraft launches and maneuvers and that there were no live fire exercises. Still, he said they will intensify maritime patrols together with concerned civilian agencies.
Nagkaroon ng internal adjustment ng Philippine Navy to allow us to project more ships sa ating EEZ. This will allow us more patrols and longer durations. Pati ang Coast Guard and in fact pati ang BIPAD. Ang kailangan
yes.
sa West Philippine Sea is more government presence.
Well, this is coming off of the president's remarks that an external threat is becoming more pronounced, and it is worrisome. He said that upon meeting soldiers in the 5th Infantry Division in Gamu, Isabela. And he told the soldiers to prepare themselves, especially the northern part of the Philippines, for the situation over in Taiwan.
Joining us tonight to talk more about this, we have with us International Development and Security Cooperation President Chester Cabalza joining us via Zoom. Good evening, Chester. Thanks for taking time out of your holiday to talk to us.
Yes, first of all, happy Independence Day. Good evening, Ms. Regina, Ms. Gretchen, Ms. Sean. Thanks for having me in your program.
Happy Independence Day as well to you.
Chester, as we just reported, the Armed Forces of the Philippines said that the Chinese vessels conducted military drills within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone for the first time as far as they're concerned. Is there an alternate universe here where it could be argued that China was doing this as part of their right to freedom of navigation?
Not so much on the right to freedom of navigation, but they're testing the waters. Because by next week, hopefully we will be seeing how China will behave by enforcing their law to foreign fishers. And I think that is something that we have to look at. And I think they're also testing the waters on how the Philippines would react. And if their intent is to elevate the principle of freedom of navigation and overflight, then might as well they have to recognize the 2016 arbitral award. The mere fact that they are not yet recognizing that, and they said that it's just a piece of paper, then I doubt that their intent is to, of course, do it in good faith to elevate the freedom of navigation principle.
But if that's the case, Chester, then doesn't that mean that they're actually exercising their right in their exclusive economic zone or the territories that they're claiming? Because I think the 9-dash line does go over that part. So is that how they could be seeing this?
Remember, they changed already the illustration. It's no longer 9-dash line because 9-dash line was invalidated in the 2016 arbitral award.
Correct.
Now they have redrawn it and they called it 10-dash line. That's why India, Southeast Asian claimant countries, including Taiwan, resisted the new map that the communist, the Chinese Communist Party has withdrawn. And I think the problem here is not about the freedom of navigation principle or the new illustration, but how they respect the international law and how they would be obligated to become responsible regional power by respecting the rules-based norms and the arbitral award that the Philippines has won. Today, we are celebrating the Independence Day of the Philippines. Hopefully, China will reconsider that opportunity that they are part of the UNCLOS. And as member of the UNCLOS, they have to recognize the 2016 Arbitral Award.
Chester, is this part of the gray zone tactics of China? Or is there something clear in the law of the sea that says something about military activities being conducted in exclusive economic zones? I mean, what can we do here? I'm sure if they did it the first time, it isn't the last that we're probably going to see these military activities.
Probably it's still part of the gray zone strategy because they have not uh, pronounced and announced these kinds of activities. If they are if they have that good faith to tell to the Philippines that we will cross the exclusive economic zone, then they have at least said it to the Philippines. The mere fact that they did that without the consent coming from the Philippines, it means that they are testing the waters. At the same time, although it's not written, I think more than the freedom of navigation, I think there is the innocent passage that was included in the UNCLOS provision. The mere fact that there was no innocent passage that was done, because I think their intent is to just navigate and sail around the exclusive economic zone, then I think there is a loss of translation on how they would appeal in their language. There was no communications between the Philippines and China about this. So we are just reinterpreting what is happening right now.
Chester, may I ask how you would like the Philippines to take this and what kind of response the Philippines you would like to see make?
Well, I mean, especially if you say
Okay.
that, especially if you say that they're testing the water. So, did we pass or fail? Right? What message are we sending to China by not doing anything?
Well, of course, if that's their intent, then they should have called for a high-level bilateral talk. At least our presidents should be talking, or else the representatives coming from the foreign affairs, high-level diplomats, they should be talking on the key salient points on how to respect maritime rules-based norms and how to respect the exclusive economic zones of each party, of each countries. That is something that we are waiting from China. We have explored bilateralism in the past, during the past administration, but we saw failed rapprochements diplomatically and economically. This time around, because of the high tensions that is happening in the West Philippine Sea, we are hoping for bilateralism courtesy of China, because right now we have been exploring multilateralism and minilateralism, which we have not yet seen a very good resolution on the peaceful resolution in the South China Sea. If China would want to have bilateralism with the Philippines, then at least they could have considered that, and that they should have offered it to the Philippine government, that we wanted to talk and we're ready to talk, or if they are more sincere, let's talk in Manila. So I think that is something that we've been waiting for them. Otherwise, we are just prejudging them based from their behaviors, based from their regression tactics, and at the same time, there are no clear provisions on how this conundrum in the West Philippine Sea should be resolved amicably between the Philippines and China.
Pwede ba itong i-protesta, the military activities? Because they also held exercises near Taiwan. This is reminiscent of that. Overreact? Or should we do something about it? What's your take on that?
If it's outside the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, ay karapatan naman nila yan. That's the right, no? They've been doing that with Cambodia. Remember during the previous Balikatan exercises, the biggest so far with 14 observer countries and 4 possible countries that wanted to have visiting forces agreement with us. through the US, Australia, and then of course you have Japan and France there. They also did military exercises around Taiwan and near West Philippine Sea and also in Cambodia. I think that's the right. But of course, they're trying to conquer the might of our allies and partners. That is their sovereign right at the same time, as long as they don't intrude in our internal waters.
This is actually within the EEZ. They conducted the exercises around the Skoda Shoal. That's 71 nautical miles from Palawan. So, medyo talagang pasok na pasok
Yun
sa
yun ang
EEZ
medyo
natin.
nakakatakot because Skoda is very near the mainland Palawan, no? That archipelago there. And also in Skoda, that's close to Ayungin Shoal and to Mischief Reef. And above that, you have also Reed Bank. So I think that's very crucial in a sense that it's a red flag when you talk about national security in the West Philippine Sea. Because as of the moment, the Philippines still is claiming the Escoda Shoal, including the Ayungin Shoal, although the Mischief Reef, they have China has already militarized it. And then, of course, Reed Bank is contested. And we know for a fact that Reed Bank, based from the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, that's part of our maritime territory.
Right. Chester,
As far as you know, are there high-level talks going on to discuss the this new regulation that you mentioned, which, as we all know, is that rule that China unilaterally imposed, which says that they can detain what they call trespassers in the disputed waters, and this rule kicks in actually in 3 days on June 15.
Yeah.
They can not only arrest these trespassers but also detain them for up to 60 days. So do you think, as far as you've heard, are there high-level talks going on to discuss this issue?
I don't know if there are high-level talks, but I'm sure lately I've been interviewed about the upcoming RIMPAC. I was also asked by former students, senior students from Coast Guard and the Navy about the implication of this one in case that China enforces it.
Really?
And they would jump to Philippine vessels. What would be the reaction of Filipino Coast Guardians and the Navy? I was like telling them, as long as they are not carrying any guns or arms, then you talk to them. If they carry guns and they would intimidate you, that is something that we have to discuss because that is against international laws. And of course, that is something that is not acceptable in the regime of islands because you are carrying guns there. If their intent is to enforce their law, then let's try to negotiate, be diplomatic, and let's elevate it to high-level talks.
Right.
Those were my suggestions to them.
Chester, related to what Regina just asked, I wanted to also go
Yeah.
back to what you said earlier about China should be the one to initiate these high-level talks. Is there any specific reason why China should initiate it, or can we also initiate it?
You know, the reason why I've been telling that it should be China who should initiate this bilateral talk, because remember, in the past administration, we have exhausted our efforts bilaterally with China. We have talked to them, and China has promised a lot of things to us. Examples would be the hotline, the diplomacy, the Coast Guard diplomacy, and some other unfulfilled pacts with the Philippines. And the Philippines receive it warmly. But if it comes from China, we are studying the gestures and sincerity of China. If it is an offer coming from Beijing, then that means that they are sincere in talking with us and they have some recommendations on how to resolve this problem. Because right now we have exhausted so much. We've used bilateral, multilateral, and minilateral approaches. These are poly-domain and multi approaches already on how to resolve this issue amicably with China. but it seems like we have not found yet the best formula on how to temper China. If it comes from Beijing, that means that they have better solutions and better innovative policies on how to resolve this issue.
Well, talking about gestures, the Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Wang
We were
Xilian,
just about to
Yes.
ask.
was in Malacanang today. Nakita niyo po ba yung video? Ano pong basa
Yeah,
niyo?
yeah.
We were
nakita
just
ko nga
running
and
it
I've
whilst
been
you were
listening.
talking.
Good sign ba yun? O ano to? Parang
Well,
ano lang,
it's
diplomat
Independence
lang.
Day, so there's a special occasion. There's a special occasion. That's the reason why the gesture is so warm and welcoming. But sometimes ang nakikita kasi natin minsan iba yung kilos, iba yung salita, no? Or minsan ang nangyayari iba yung sinasabi nila, iba rin yung kinikilos sa baba sa West Philippine Sea. So I hope that the keyword I think here is consistency. Na kung ano yung sasabihin nila, ano yung kilos nila, sana yun na there should be consistency in the gestures, language, and of course nuances.
And in the
As analysts and for policymakers, those are very important. We are looking at the consistency of their behaviors, actions, and languages.
Parang sa manliligaw lang no, Chester. Pero since
But
wala
Yeah.
nga...
he says it's a good sign.
Yeah, pero...
Parang,
di ba, sa
siyempre,
manliligaw... Oo, ganun naman tayo.
nagpapapogi rin sila kasi nga sunod-sunod din yung yung pambabati ko sa kanila if we try to connect the dots, no? After the West Philippine Sea, we saw the alleged influx of Chinese students, tapos yung sa Pogo
Pogo.
problem, and then of course yung mga local leaders natin that were so-called spies. So, ang dami nilang pinagdadaanan ngayon. And
Yeah.
we wanted that the Philippines-China relations will become closer. Ayaw naman natin ng gulo o giyera. All we want, of course, is to resolve this amicably. Because this is a complex issue. Let's not look it in a one-sided perspective. Remember, our problem only with China is our strategic relations with them. Let's not equate politics and strategic relations to economics.
Right.
Those are two different things. Ang dapat ayusin natin ngayon is yung warm relations of China and the Philippines, even if the reasons why they perhaps dislike us because of our closeness with the United States, because of our alliance with the US, dapat tanggapin ni China yun na part ng kasaysayan natin yun, parte yun ng ating
Right.
lifeblood as a nation state. At the same time, they have to fulfill their promises also with the Philippines. The reason why they are doing the military exercises there and then showing some warm acquaintations with the Philippines, I hope that one day they will
Yeah.
also realize that as a member of the UNCLOS, they have to recognize the arbitral award.
It's good that he's challenging them to go back to the table, right? Maybe it's a good time.
Yeah, and might also point out that he didn't just show up to Malacanang today. He also showed up at the ceremonies at Rizal Park. I'm talking about Ambassador Huang. He also showed up at the Rizal Park ceremonies earlier in the day. So maybe there is more
Yes.
of an effort from their side.